Weird Realities explores the paranormal, preternatural, and supernatural worlds that surround us. Here we delve into those topics that challenge us to think outside the limitations of realism, where we test the boundaries of imagination and are forced to think outside the confines and restrictions of what is normal. We are the creators, the writers, the artists, and the insane. Welcome to our Weird Realities.
Hey everybody, this is Hadley Thorne, and I am here tonight with a mixed bag of nuts. I've got Stephen Hill, Cecil Fletcher, and Rick Tristucci. Morgana may be joining us, and she may not be. She is in the woods in Mississippi and cannot find a signal. So our
That's always
scheduled
terrifying.
guest had an emergency, and it's just us. So
That's always a
Chat-
terrifying place to be, in the middle of the woods of Mississippi.
Yeah, just gonna ask, what's she doing out there?
no, she's traveling. She's traveling.
Is she traveling with Bigfoot?
Not with Bigfoot.
Bigfoots.
Not that I know of. She's going to a family thing up by me. Actually, I might get to see her tomorrow.
Well, that's great.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. So yeah, shadow people is our topic for tonight, and other than hearing stories, I've never really had an experience. So I'm here to listen and to ask questions.
Yeah, we are too. I think everybody on here. All the experts have actually bailed on this one. And
hey, Mike, it's your show, buddy. You take it over, and we'll ask you questions.
Come on, man.
Steven said he had some stories. So you want to start us off, Steven?
I guess. Do you want to start off with what a shadow person is?
Yeah. If you want to.
Yeah. Tell us.
Oh, right. Here's the 3-sentence paragraph that I have in regards to what a shadow person is. It's a black mass that gives the perception of being its own living entity that creeps along your walls and can be sitting in your recliner. Typically believed to be a spirit or of a recently or long ago past person. There's also a belief that these living black masses could be of demonic origin.
Mm-hmm.
And the origins of the so-called shadow people is really hard to track because they're everywhere. They're in most religions.
Mm-hmm.
So stories about shadow people go back thousands of years in most cases. So that's what a shadow person is. And it can be
I've heard stories of people seeing like the Hat Man.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a shadow person that they wear like a cowboy hat, or what is it, like a fedora?
Yeah, something along those lines.
It's a bowler hat, I think, isn't it? Isn't it one of the old bowler hats, or is it a fedora?
If they're wearing a fedora, there was a pretty cool cat in the 20s. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, one of my friends, she's very, very psychic, and she grew up on a horse farm. And she's seen them like in the farm, like down the barn, at the end of the barn, which is pretty long. I've been there, and she's seen a man standing there, just like a black mask, but with the hat on.
Well, the thing that usually accompanies shadow people is sleep paralysis. So we'll go ahead and tackle the narrative, I guess. They believe that shadow people appear because you're kind of in a sleep state still, and you have basically you're still in a dream state and you just see figures when you're in this sleep paralysis. Doesn't explain how these shadow figures attack people, which we'll get to stories now.
So building on that, the only thing I know about it was the sleep paralysis, and that meth addicts actually they see a lot of shadow people. So they're not sure if it's whatever in the meth activates the same portion or slows down the same portion of the brain that the sleep paralysis.
Now that you say that, that reminds me, because I come from a town that's heavily influenced by meth, and I have heard of people seeing shadow figures running between trees and stuff, thinking that was the FBI. But that's usually about after the 4th day of being awake.
Paranoia.
Yeah.
Well, when I was in college, I used to house sit for a doctor and her husband, and their guest room was close to the front door. And one morning I woke up and I could see like a figure. I just was like, fuck this, and was shut my eyes and went back to sleep. But is that like what you're talking about? Do people see stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. With some of it, yeah, that's kind of weird. I'll go ahead and lead off with the story that I know some guys they're quite a bit younger than me, and this happened a few years ago, where they were getting ready to go out. They were teenage, maybe 20, whatever, something like that. They were getting ready to go out, for the evening, like young guys do in rural America. And the first person that actually saw one, he was getting something out of his truck, and he saw what was one of his buddies. I think there were about 5 of them at this house getting ready to go out that evening. And he saw what he thought was one of his buddies on the opposite side of the truck. And so he just started talking to him. And he was just talking his head off to him. And whenever he got back up to the hood of his truck and he looked across, that's when he realized that was not one of his buddies, but that was a dark figure of some sort that he couldn't see a face on. So he immediately went back into the house. Well, they stayed in the house for a little while. He told his buddies what had gone on, what had happened there. And another one of them, when they decided they were going to go ahead and leave, when they stepped out of the house, opened the door, stepped out on the front porch, on the top step was the same shadow person.
Jeez.
That he would have been face to face if it had a face. That's how close they were. So I mean, this story here didn't involve any sleep paralysis or anything like that. They saw this entity, whatever it is, real close proximity. So,
did it move? Did it move or just hang around?
It had moved from the truck to the porch.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess so. But did they see it like all shaking and stuff, drinking a beer, or was it just pointing fingers or not moving?
Didn't move right then. Whenever he got out there and he wound up about 3 feet from it, they all decided to go back inside the house.
Yeah.
The way that I understand it too, they're just basically like an ominous character that could stand there, do the little movements and stuff. And the ones that they see on the walls are pulling a Peter Pan, just dancing about. Mm-hmm. And as the train of thought that Tully and I are in, Peter Pan's probably some kind of a foreshadowing of more shadow people coming along from Disney or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I think weird stuff, but I've wondered if it's like people who are astral traveling and you're just seeing like what their imprint is.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a speculation that they could be interdimensional beings, and that when you're coming in and out of sleep, the veil's at its weakest, and you're just seeing interdimensional beings just chilling and watching you, essentially, which is a little creepy in my books. I mean, I like to stand at the end of the bed and watch people sleep, but it's for creepy reasons. I like scaring them. So
I'm glad you don't live near me.
How do you know? Yeah.
That's true.
Wake up one night and there's Cecil.
Be like that. Be like that part of I think the original VHS when that guy's Skyping his girlfriend or whatever, and comes to find out he's right next door to her and ends up cutting out a little alien baby. Whenever. You remember that part? Just to creep Ray Pal a little more.
Yeah. With this right here, it would make more sense if they were somehow interdimensional or somehow, I don't know, to take that from fiction, with the Pan scenario where he would actually separate his soul, from from his body, and somehow it could travel around that way. That's a step off into the real deep end right there. But
I hate to get off on Peter Pan here, but is he a serial killer? Like, he is a serial killer, right? Captain Hook was actually the good guy in this whole.
No.
All a matter of perspective.
I mean, he's taking boys to an island where they never grow up.
Yeah.
You know,
Captain Hook as the good guy.
yeah.
I
I
suppose.
think Captain Hook is one of the ones that got away from him and grew up, and now he's trying to free the other ones. Yeah,
The
that's actually
crocodile
true.
was after Captain Hook, though, so he must have been bad.
No, well, a crocodile's good.
No, no. The crocodile was after Captain Hook because
Yeah.
he bit off his hand years before, and he liked the taste so much that he wanted the rest of them.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I'm saying. I mean,
how
Doesn't
can a
mean- doesn't
crocodile
make him
be?
a bad guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he
he's a bad
could have.
guy. He had a hook.
Jason Momoa's hand. He's like, that son of a bitch tasted good. I want more. So he fucking swims
If it
around
was a
chasing Jason
crocodile saying
Momoa.
that.
And coming to you as somebody that was nearly attacked by a crocodile, an alligator. I don't think they're really the best of entities. So I believe that might have been Pan's little devilish buddy going to try to
Yeah.
stop the competition. All right, back on topic.
Yeah.
Shadow people, though, there's so many different explanations of what they could be. Some people even think they're time travelers, which still puts them in, just glaring at you while you sleep. And like that's always weird to me. Like, there's something about some people think that shadow figures are a neutral entity, but I don't know of any neutral entities that just hover while you're laying in bed. But there are some instances where people's walked downstairs or walked outside, like you said, and seen them too.
Mhm.
So it's really hard to say. What do you think they are?
Have you guys seen one?
I've never seen one
No, me
that I
neither.
know of.
I don't know. It's I could have mistaken one night for something else, but that's I've actually seen the I don't know. I dismissed it as a Bigfoot, but I don't know. That's it could have been. I suppose it could have been that because it had the red glowing eyes on a moonless night. So,
That's terrifying.
yeah,
So, but do shadow people have red glowing eyes?
They can.
they can.
That would
There
freak
are
me out.
Yeah,
Right.
so just like the Mothman, the reports of the eyes of the Mothman as well, and all this falls into some type of a paranormal thing. To me, I always think back to the Philadelphia Project and how some of the people were transported around and things like that. Could have this been a bad experiment that went horribly wrong, and these people are stuck in this form now?
Shadow
That's
form, yeah.
terrifying.
Well, there's an X-Files on something like that. Yeah, that's a little freaky.
Yeah.
Well, the craziest thing that I have ever seen, and this is a tangible scene. It's not it was shadowy or misty or I was half asleep. It wasn't anything like that. But a friend of mine and I had we've been up on the Natchez Trace at Riverbend. It was a rainy day, and there was a person that was kind of propped against a tree. And I was telling her, I think that person's dead. Should we check on them? Because, you know how like a dead form just has a different look to it than somebody that's living?
Gotta
Right.
poke them with a stick.
Yeah, it's just something. And so we circled around. We came back. They were still sitting there. And I was like, I think we need to go back. I think we need to check on them. So we went back the third time, and they were standing probably about 10 feet from the turnaround. And when they were standing there, they had a blue parka on. The parka, like the hoodie, was around their face, but there was no face. It was completely black. It was not. It was. I can't even tell you how frightening it was. It was just void. It wasn't a ski mask. It wasn't. There was no features. It was just void, and it freaked both of us out. Again, I was with someone. This was broad daylight. It freaked us the F out. We left, and the whole time we were leaving, I swear I was thinking it was going to be in the back seat. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen. And like I said, this was at 2:00 in the afternoon on a weekday. It just wasn't right. I don't know if it was a shadow person and they had a blue parka on, but
I was going to say, but it was
something.
clothed. That's
that was the weird thing. Is it was a tangible thing.
Yeah, that right there would kind of go along with some of the lore of Europe, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we go along with that quite well. You know, I said I've never seen a shadow figure, but like you always catch those glimpses of things out of the corner of your eye that could be a
Yes.
shadow figure. And driving, sometimes, you know, if you're driving by yourself, you look in that rearview mirror and you have to do a second glance because you think you see something. That's happened a lot, but you never. I mean,
Yeah.
that could just be remnants of my youth.
Yeah, I mean, your brain processes things slower from one side to the other sometimes, so that could have been anything that passed in front of your vision, and you're seeing it in your peripheral because your brain is seeing it later than it actually happened.
Right.
If you guys look at Landa's comment, she said we kept seeing a chihuahua-sized shadow in our first apartment. My dog noticed it too. It was not a nice shadow. I mean, when it's in your house, that's fucking nuts. That's pretty spooky.
Yeah.
Shit, Landa. It's brave.
Is it
Uh,
like the ghost of a rat?
I don't know. Yeah, but do you want a ghost rat running around your house?
No, no, I wouldn't.
Hell no. I don't want no ghost rat.
I keep seeing little animals out of the corner of my eye. Now, I usually think it's my little dog, but when I think it's my little dog, she's usually complete on the other side of the house. But again, I did think a lot of things in my youth that would contribute to still seeing things. So that'd be for sure something that would be left over from that whole time period. I hear it can follow you for years.
Yeah.
So here's a story, if I can read properly, because like Rich was saying, sometimes things don't come out the way you see them, and in this mine, everything's a little delayed. Let me put on my spectacles. So this person says, I was about 10 or 11, and when I went into the house, it was daytime, and the building was well lit. I looked into what was that?
Well, to me,
I think that's on your end, buddy. What the hell is that behind you?
Don't do that.
Uh,
I looked into a few rooms and nothing out of the ordinary until I turned into the hallway, and there it was. Suddenly at the end of the hall, just looking at me, even though it had no eyes. So how could she tell I was looking at her? The shadow person now looked at each other for some time, and I didn't think it was real until I started walking toward it slowly. I turned around and he had traveled about 7 meters in a split second. I finally made it out of the house and looked again. It had stopped at the door, almost like it was unable to leave the house. Then he just simply turned away and walked away. That's horribly wrote. But people that have these stories, like, what do you do in the instance that something like this occurs in your house? Do you go back in the house?
Well, Landa said she moved.
Yeah,
She moved because of that shadow.
that's
I mean,
the logical.
I don't know. Yeah, you get. I don't know. Well, you have to understand or assume that it's either benevolent or not, and if it's not benevolent, then it's malicious, and I don't want that shit around me. But then you have to think about, what if you move and it goes with you? What if it's like, yeah, I'm coming.
yeah.
Then what do you do? I mean,
Yeah,
call a
so-
priest? I don't know. You had it exercised?
Would it be attached to you or possibly some object that you
Right,
have?
exactly. An object, the house that it's in,
Right.
anything from a vehicle to a baby, right? I
Mhm.
mean, what the hell? It's how do you get rid of that? That's just freaky.
Yeah. Well, I know what I read about. You can spiritually cleanse your house. Sage is often used. Things like that. Have people pray, pray over your house. Things.
well, that's one reason, like, people would have a priest or a shaman or whoever come and bless their house before when you move in, is to cleanse all that stuff out.
I guess so, yeah. So, Landa, what did the blue light do? Landa said she had a blue light in every room. So what does the blue light do? Does it dispel that darkness? I'm not sure I know what it is, what it does.
I'm from the country in a pretty rough area. So anytime there's blue lights flash in the house, you just put your hands up and lay down on
Yeah.
the floor face down.
So the shadow people are like, you got me. Caught.
You do not resist. You go along with the flow.
Bad
I like
spirits
the
again.
idea. I like the idea of the people. Some people believe it's gray related to the grays. If you believe in space, they come from space. If you believe in a plane, they're extraplanar. The little gray aliens. So, have you studied anything into that, Stephen, about how that would play into it?
Well, to me, I mean, if it wasn't some experiment went horribly wrong, like the Philadelphia experiment, or maybe something like CERN with the stuff they're monkeying around with there. I had to get it in. You knew it was coming. but with that, well, it's just like you and Kelly, you cover the Tartarian Empire a lot.
Yeah.
And to me, there's no doubt there was a highly advanced civilization here sometime before the mud flood occurred, and we don't know everything that they had, but I think we're probably getting glimpses of it now with some of the technology that's coming out. So I just wonder if it could be that, or if it could be some kind of interdimensional entity. A lot of times there's a dark feelings, were associated with these things, kind of like Hadley was talking about earlier. So to me, it wouldn't be any stretch of the imagination for something like that to exist. We're the reality that we're stuck in. We only have just a few dimensions that we're privy to, whereas there are more than likely at least 11 dimensions out there. So,
tell me more about the dimensions.
Something like that for me. It's kind of where my thoughts are.
The dimensions.
Dimensions.
I'm a firm believer in that we're layered worlds, and to me, the way I've always thought about it is when the veil's thin, it's a overlapping of some of those worlds or dimensions.
Right.
The lasagna world.
The what?
The lasagna world.
What's the lasagna world?
There's layers.
Oh, okay.
The lasagna
I'm not
world.
Italian, I didn't get it.
No, see, I believe once if there's a being or entity out there, with the 6th or 7th dimension, more than likely they wouldn't have to have a home planet or anything like that. Just wherever they are is where they are, and they can be any place like that. Rich, this is probably more into your territory here, isn't it?
I suppose. I mean, science, right? But
I did have a whole 4 paragraphs talking trash about scientists, and then I heard you come on here, so I just deleted them.
Oh no, you go for it. I can talk trash about scientists too. First of all, it's awfully bold of you to assume that I'm a scientist just because I do science.
Closest thing to a scientist I know.
Yeah. No, we're for the most part, Rich. We're rank amateurs who talk trash.
So I fit in well. Then
I'm
a professional amateur.
Hey, Alan Lassiter. Alan Lassiter's in the
Hey,
house.
Alan.
And Mike Lewis and Landa, y'all know. I think I saw Mark Eady earlier.
When it comes to the science of everything, like, how do you think that would play into, like, seeing things like this? So, just from what you would know about it.
I mean, all right. So I actually work with chromatography, which is a study of light. And what we do is we take samples from all over the world and we turn it into a little liquid like that, and we throw light through it. Basically, how it works, and we can see what's in it and how much. So, using that information, what is a shadow? A shadow isn't actually anything. It's the absence of light. Right? It's just something that is in the way of something else. But when you have a shadow where it's not supposed to be, how does that happen? If you've got no light source, you can't have a shadow.
Right.
So, I mean, it's something to think about. When you've got, hi Mona, you've got a shadow in a spot where a shadow can't be, or a shadow that moves when your light source or whatever's in front of the light source hasn't moved. It's not possible. It just can't happen. So, I mean, there is some weird shit that's unexplained that's out there, and
Mhm.
whether or not it can be quantified is something else. So,
Right.
I can't say what a shadow person is, but Stephen, you brought up the possibility that it's something left behind. So if say they did something in CERN, you're welcome. And we don't know what the hell they're doing over there. It's not like it's a little facility and they're doing all kinds of stuff. What if somebody did get, I don't know, erased, or they were dosed with such high radiation that their particles lost cohesion and now there's a shadow on the wall? I mean, that happens. We know that happens. A blast of heat from, let's say, a nuclear explosion, and there was somebody standing on a wall or in front of a wall. Their being is now on the wall because it no longer exists. So what is that? What is the stuff that's on the wall? Well, I mean, that can be quantified, but what happened to the person? I mean, they're just atomized. They're just gas now. So
Right.
who knows what that means? I mean, I don't know what I sure as hell don't know what it means. So there's, I mean, if you want to look at the science of it, you can go in that direction. That's a little weird, I guess. It's definitely a reach, but there it is.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know. For me, it would probably have to be something interdimensional. That's what it has to be.
I'm with
Yes.
Steven.
You don't think what about the possibility of it being demonic entities?
Mhm.
Because they have been known to attack people, like sit on people's chests to push the air out of them and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
I think
Right.
that's a different type. I think it's like, just because we know it's like a form, but we can't see what it is. I think just like there's different types of humans, different types of dogs, different types of cats, I think there's different types of things that are out in this interdimensional place, or there's more than one interdimensional place. So it's just like when we talk about cryptids, I think people are seeing something out in the woods. I don't know what it is, and I don't think they do. You
Right.
know?
And as far as this goes, I mean, how do we know that it always takes the shape or the form of a shadow person? How do we know it doesn't take on the form of something else from time to time?
Well, in the Quran, they actually mention a shadow beast of some kind. I forget what it was.
The jinn.
Yeah. Well, that's Islamic, ain't it? That's an
Yeah.
Islam jinn.
Yeah.
And I guess yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
So there's a tie-in between demonic and extraplanar. What is, you talk about interdimensional and then you talk about demons, but where do demons come from? Right? Where does a demon come from? It sure shit isn't around here. I don't see one. So, I mean, if you're talking about hell or wherever that place that demons come from, is that not interdimensional as well?
Yes.
Come
there
here
you
and I'll
go.
drive you 10 miles down the road to my mom's house and get to meet
For
one, brother.
for me, I mean, what's to say that something, there's just such, to me, when people say demonic, they really mean malevolent. You know, that not all of these entities are malevolent, or they're not capable of malice towards us for whatever reason. So I don't know. I guess I just kind of have a problem with people labeling everything they don't understand as demonic, because there's lots of stuff out there that isn't malevolent.
I
Agreed.
do that. I've got a bad habit of that. My wife made something that was disgusting. I called it demonic the other day. I don't know what it was.
I had some perfume given to me that we said needed an exorcism.
I'm just everything she makes is delicious.
So the
You better say that.
the definition of a demon: an evil spirit or devil, especially one thought to possess a person or act as a tormentor in hell. And the second one is a forceful, fierce, or skillful performer of a specified activity. A friend of mine is a demon cook. Well, that one just stupid.
I
The
didn't
first
know
one's
that was
great. The evil, evil's the second word. So you're right, Hadley. It's definitely a malevolent whatever entity.
until this very moment, I didn't know you could use that as giving somebody props.
Yeah, me neither, and we're not going to do it. That's dumb.
No, I'm going to do it from now
Hell
on.
with them. Cecil the demon.
So I don't know what I always thought with a demon, though, it was like a disembodied spirit.
Yeah.
And in order for it to have a body, it would have to actually possess a body. You know, whether it be an animal, a human, whatever. So, with this right here being a shadow, I'm not sure where that would fall, where that would actually fit in.
Well, do the lumberjack people fall into the shadow people?
Lumberjacks, people that cut down trees.
No, you know, there's like people see this shadow person that's got like a lumberjack shirt on.
You mean a flannel shirt?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a red and black. Like, is it called buffalo plaid? Something like that. I'm sorry, I'm
never
being a girl.
Heard that before.
It's like a plaid. Yeah, I've heard accounts of people seeing this lumberjack type person.
Huh.
Google it. Someone Google it. It's a thing. I did not make it up. I promise.
And when you
Okay.
see me looking up, I'm not rolling my eyes. I've got a different setup here, so my other screen's up there. Let's see.
Mike Lewis is
Lumberjack
saying,
man.
isn't hell and purgatory and heaven considered by some to be another dimension as well?
Yeah.
Yes. Again, to me, it's just what different people call different dimensions.
Well, Stephen, you said before there were 11 quantified.
I can't say with any certainty. I've listened to some people who've said that there were probably 10 or 11 dimensions. So,
All right. So does hell and heaven and purgatory fall into that realm, that ideal? Are those 3 of those 11?
that possibly could be. I mean,
Fair enough.
yeah, because I don't know. I believe the Bible. I'll go ahead and tell everybody that I believe the Bible. So, you know, it's just like the place that Jesus went to after the crucifixion. You know, there was a great goer, Lazarus and a rich man. That story there was a holding place that flesh and blood couldn't enter into. People who were there were people who had died. In Luke 16. So, yeah, that would be in a different place or a different dimension, I believe. You know, because the people that were there couldn't get out, and they haven't got out yet, as far as I know. You know, according to the Bible, I don't know of anything in the Bible that says that they have been freed from that now. But to me, also, whenever we go to talking about fallen angels, they can take on the form of different things, is my understanding, you know, and the fact that a fallen angel can transform into an angel of light or something like that. So if one's fallen, what kind of mischief are they capable of? Would be my question, because they can enter into rooms without opening a door or anything like that. All the stuff that fits into the paranormal realm seem to be things that they have the ability to do. So,
well, in the Norse myth, there is the 9 worlds, and there's a world of fire, which I would say, you know, and there's a world of ice, there's a world of shadow and death.
Mhm.
So when I, like I said, that's my belief system. I believe those places exist. But I also think there's more. You know, when we start looking at places that you can access. And I sort of looked into some of the stuff with I can't think. It's the Tao Buddhism stuff. They have a lot of different levels of. I guess it's like different levels of these dimensions. You have the lower dimensions, which is where like the ghost and the spirits are. But then as you, I guess, move up towards heaven, because they do have a heaven, like celestial place,
Mhm.
there's like 11 layers there or more. I can't find a lot on it because, again, I'm not I'm new to even exploring that, but it's fascinating to me, and I did find that there are a lot of different levels as you're ascending to like a godlike status. So anyway, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So I just read something that's kind of interesting, and it kind of leads credence into what you said, that there are multiple different kinds of shadow people. They can be anywhere from like a evil entity up to where people believe they're just their guardian angels watching over them.
Mhm.
So that's kind of unique. So they can be out to try to suffocate you to death, or they can be trying to guide you into the correct path of life.
Right.
Huh. Shadow people is a lot more in depth than I really gave them credit for. Does anybody out there have any idea of what? Does anybody want to lead in that's in the audience on what they believe they are, by chance?
Yeah.
Well, Mike Lewis asked a question. He asked, "Is dimension and plane of existence the same or different?" I would think it's the same thing. I mean,
Yeah,
a
I
different
think
dimension is a different plane.
Yeah.
But I don't want
Right.
to speak for anybody. I mean, that's what I think.
That's what I think too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
that's what I think as well.
I think that a lot of times people argue because they're talking about the same thing. They just have different words for it. It's
Yes.
like we all
Yeah.
just need to come with our own little dictionary and hand it to people we're talking to.
Like major and tomato.
Yeah. That's
When I
true.
say F you, I really mean this.
I don't mean it as a bad thing. I just mean it as hello. How you doing? I'm good.
Yeah.
It's my greeting.
Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? Go fuck yourself.
Namaste.
Remember on the Beverly Hillbillies, California Howdy?
Well, this is a very interesting topic, and I really think that I'd like to see more stories, like more, I guess, horror stories about shadow people and stuff like that. You don't really see stuff
Really?
about ghosts, but you don't really see stuff about shadow people.
Oh boy, have I got a story for you. I've actually written 3 of those very same things. It's the first one was called Gloom, and it's about entities that enter into our world through shadows, and they take those shadows and they become something that can attack and kill people. And it's super fast. The whole planet's gone overnight, more or less, because these things they're just mean. And so I wrote 3 stories in that world, and you can find them. They're in places you can find that. What do I have them right here? No, of course I don't. That would be too easy. 25 Gates of Hell. Yes, I do. Hold on. They're right here.
I like that rolling action on that chair. Mine don't
Thanks,
roll
man.
that good.
Let me see. Can I read it? I got my glasses. So you're lucky. Where is it? There it is. Page 46. Gloom. So yeah, if you guys want to grab this book, you can read a horror story. 45, 46, right there. So I wrote something right along these lines.
Hold the cover
Yeah.
up.
There's
Like they wanna
19.
give people time to
There's
take
25.
screenshots.
Take
Okay.
screenshots, humans.
Don't tell us which one the story's in again, so that we have to buy both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's it. No, there's. So I wrote 3 stories, and 2 of them are in the Gates of Hell, and one of them is in. Oh, what the heck is the name of that anthology? I can't remember the name of it. I thought I had it over there.
You'd think he was a
It
best-selling
is-
author or
oh.
something.
Jesus, there it is. That right there. Pandemic Unleashed. It's called. It's by Skywatcher Press. This isn't it, but it's that one's called Pandemic Unleashed. The other one I believe is called Terror Unleashed. That's the one with the 3rd Gloom story.
And I'm going to say this to everybody out there. If you haven't read any of Rich's short stories or books, do yourself the favor. He's the real deal.
I would appreciate that. Thank you, Hadley. Pay for them as well.
You can Venmo me that money.
20% of the house.
I'd like to buy everybody's books, but I don't want to.
I'll send you my books. You'll read it.
I'll send you guys books.
I've already bought all yours, Hadley. I just haven't read them yet.
They're on Audible too. Let me know. I'll send you some codes.
I've got a whole bunch of books in there. I think I do have one of yours, Rich, actually. And I've got literally about 50, 60 books I bought that have never been opened.
That's a mark of a true lover of the written word, because I have a ton of books.
I can't wait to one day crack into them.
No.
I just gotta learn how to read.
Waiting for the internet to die.
Maybe I
Maybe
can get
next
my
week.
wife-
Yeah.
My wife will start reading them to me when we go to bed.
Rich, are your books on Kindle Unlimited?
Yes, they are. You can find them anywhere books are sold. Kindle Unlimited, Amazon if you want a hard copy, they're in Barnes and Noble. You can find them. And you can get most of them on Audible. I don't know if the Gates are on Audible, but I could find that out and get back to you guys. Those are short stories, like they're anthologies, so there's a bunch of different people in this one. Brian Keene, Jill Girardi, Brian Scott, Flint Maxwell, Brandon Scott, Eric Henry Vick, Catherine McCarthy, and many more. I'm one of the many more. And this one is featuring stories from shit, I can't see it. Where's my damn glasses? From somebody. Featuring stories from Byron Kraft, Rich Restucci, Marie Lanza, Dane Hatchell. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love how nobody on this podcast can see correctly.
I'm blind as a bat now. Oh, it pisses me off too. It pisses me because it's been the past 5 years. I had 20/20 vision up until all right, so maybe a little bit more than 5 years, but maybe 8 years ago I could see great. Now I just can't see anymore, which is probably why I haven't seen any of these shadow critters, because I can't friggin' see.
You know, I didn't realize I couldn't see until I was about 22 years old and went to an eye doctor.
Yeah.
They informed me I couldn't see, and now I can't see shit without my glasses. It's weird. But did Steven freeze up on us?
Looks
Did
like
he?
it.
Stephen? Stephen? I can't even speak.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Or other than shadow people? Anybody? Cecil, what are you reading?
I'm still researching for what looks like it's going to be a 4-month series over Tartaria starting in next June.
Well, we're going to do a true crime podcast on Monday on the Bob Crane murder. I'm really excited to research it this weekend. I've been looking at crime scene photos, and they are so graphic.
Really?
It's always a great time looking at crime scene photos and trying to go straight to sleep after it.
He was bludgeoned. Wasn't he bludgeoned?
Yes, bludgeoned beyond recognition.
Violently. But no, I just completed the research for the next Wearing the Folk episode of Samuel Little, so we'll be recording that soon. It's a true crime one as well.
And I've got to get. I asked Tully about getting y'all's page on the Weird Realities website working, and if y'all want to like grow a web page from it, we can do that.
All right, yeah, that sounds cool. I like being places. I'm thinking about one time I really thought about just buying a billboard space for a month and just putting my face on it just to be doing it. I might still do that. It's only like $400. That'd be a good.
Well, you know that they'll move it around too.
I hope so. Put it on the interstate and people be like, what's that for?
You'd have to at least advertise your show.
No.
So, Stephen, what do you have going on? Are you doing any cryptid research this weekend, or?
No, not this weekend. It will probably be at the end of December before I really get started with that again. Hunting season is open around here now, so it's
good time to get shot.
I'm not gonna be out in the woods at night in case there are deer hunters out there camping and drinking and
shooting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deer hunters drinking? No.
Never.
No.
No, that would not take place in rural America.
No.
So no, I usually wait until after deer season before I try to get very serious with it around here. So
Well, so do any of y'all do any like paranormal research? This goes for the chat room too.
I'm getting ready to start actually. I just need to get a crew together. I've got all the stuff to do it. Like I've always had it. I've got several things to go out exploring. I just don't have anybody do anything with me. So
Well,
I
so
have no
would you
friends.
say that ghost and shadow people are different? And how, I mean, do people
Yes.
that paranormal research come across shadow people?
I would imagine so. There is a thought that go that shadow people are ghosts in some instances, and they very
Wow.
well some of them could be. Um, if you believe in the simulation theory, which is the way it's pretty much what I believe in. They're just like leftover like programs from previous roles that people had and stuff. Like that's the reason whenever you see a ghost, if you see a ghost, they're usually like dressed in antiquity and they're not carrying around an iPhone. You don't really hear about people seeing ghosts from right now. And so
Well,
just leftover programming basically.
yeah, I I guess I know one story. I don't know that these would qualify as shadow people. The account came from with some people that actually know he was actually working on an oil rig in West Virginia, and he saw. I don't remember how many. They were younger people, probably in their 20s, and just standing, staring, and basically just had a blank stare on their face. And it was it was dark, and they were dressed in modern clothing. He actually pulled up there and he tried to speak to him and said hello. He never got a response from any of them. And the weird thing was, is he said even though it was dark, somehow he could still see well enough that he could tell that these things never blinked their eyes the entire time that he was there.
Now, would that be a shadow person, or would that kind of play into the BEKs, the Black Eye Kids?
That part that's the part I really don't know. I don't know if that really fits into the shadow people or not. It was just a really weird story. But I do know around that oil well there in West Virginia, what he told me was that they were trying to run the thing 24 hours a day and they had to shut it down because the night crew kept quitting because so many weird things were happening around it. So
Well, I would have quit.
Now,
Yeah.
West Virginia, that could have very well been hill people. Like, honestly, where I'm from in Clay County, we have hill people. Like, I know that people won't believe that, but that's 100% true. I've seen them. I've ran
What are
across
hill
them.
people?
They're hill people. They don't come out of the hills. They basically never leave the mountainside. And when I say they don't leave the mountainside, there's a lot of intermarriage.
Mhm.
So over multiple generations.
Deliverance.
Wrong
Oh,
turn.
I'm thinking, what is the dragon show? The Game of Thrones stuff.
It's more along the lines of wrong turn, but not quite as drastic. Yeah.
Laura's saying the hills have eyes.
Oof.
So hill people are like real people. They're just like
From the hills.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
And
from
very
the-
protective of their land.
Yeah, that's from what I've been told. The family that was familiar with people up there in Southwest West Virginia is basically what they would do. They would marry the people on the next ridge, and that was about as far as they traveled. So yeah, there was what Cecil was telling you was absolutely true. You know, it would be their family on the next ridge, and that's where they go find their wife. At, you know, might have been a first cousin or whatever.
Have I seen any Whitakers? I know a bunch of Whitakers actually.
Florence, Edward, James.
One of my best friends got killed. He was a Whitaker. But
tell the turtle story. The guy with the turtle story.
and
Before we go, it has nothing to do with shadow people, but I just like to hear it.
In Clay County.
Yeah, the old man that died. The turtles came for him.
Oh, that was totally mine's pretty much intertwined, but back in the day, people used to cut people up and throw them in the Kentucky River down in Oneida, Kentucky. And there was a bunch of turtles that got acclimated to eating this flesh of these people that were being thrown in the river. So there was a guy that died, and they were having his funeral, and a bunch of turtles came to eat him.
Snack on.
Yeah.
That is not the pleasant story Tully told me. Yours is a little bit more hardcore there.
And then the turtles
thought the
grabbed
turtles
him and
just
flew
showed
him
up.
away to heaven.
But no, that's a real thing that went around Clay County for years.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes to hill people, like I used to deliver pizzas as a teenager, and somehow these hill people would order pizza. Like I don't know, like they would call in from a neighbor's house. They'd walk a mile out of the mountain to go use a phone, and the directions were insane. They're like, first you hit the creek, then you stay in the creek for about a mile, then you'll see our path. Then we'll meet you about halfway up the path, and you're like, okay.
I get out of my car.
No, Cecil, you're not like okay. You're like, yeah, no, not happening.
Sir,
Eat your
$10
pizza.
tip is a $10 tip.
And you would actually follow those directions and deliver the pizza.
Yeah,
He was a young man at the time.
yeah. This was before cell phones and stuff. Like I didn't have GPS or anything. Well, cell phones were around, but they aren't like they are now. Directions would be like, you go to the big rock, then you turn left then you'll drive about 400 horse paces and turn right at the barn, and right there we are. Like, it's pretty. You find yourself in some sketchy places, but that's the first time I ran into hill folk, though. I've told the story 1,000 times, but we was riding 4-wheelers and cutting trails in the mountains, and we ran across a cabin that you could like see through the wood or whatever, like between the wood, like the gout was gone, but there was smoke rolling out of like windows and the chimney and everything. And I was going to walk up and see what's going on because it looked like it might be on fire. But when I got on the porch, my friend started screaming at me because they had these rocks like piled up in tiers of 3 all the way around.
Yeah.
But the reason that freaked him out is because the day before we was riding and we found what they call a devil's circle. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm.
No.
It's a circle of land that's completely barren. And it's a perfect circle. And around that circle, when we found it had those rocks around it too. And when you walked into it, it's almost like static electricity flowing through you. It felt weird, like your hair starts standing
They
up.
call those witch dance circles down here.
But I walked into it and like I started feeling weird and stuff. So he pulled me out of that, and luckily he was with me on when we went to that cabin too, because I was going to go in. It looked like it was on fire. You know, I was going to go steal something or something.
So
You would have been no more. We would never have known you.
delivering pizzas, and that's what I was just gonna say. He's delivering pizzas, and he's going into houses on fire with. How are you not about
Man-eating
I
turtles.
don't understand. Yeah, right.
I was
Something should have
young.
eaten you by now.
I mean, it was fun. But you know, all the time cruising through the hills and stuff like we used to, I never seen anything like besides that stuff like that. Never got to see any cryptids.
Do you think that they see you and they say, no, we don't want him to see us?
more than likely we tearing so much hell through the woods that they probably just hid from us? Like you can hear a 4-wheeler going 40-45 miles an hour through the mountains. Like
Yeah. If you're out in the if you're out in a remote area, you'll be surprised how many miles away you can hear gravel popping underneath the vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, and that's exactly right, because there was one time we was riding somewhere, and we stopped to do our, just stop to talk for a little bit, and we heard we was like, what is that? And we turned around, and there's an old lady shooting a shotgun at us from about a quarter mile away, and it wasn't hitting us, because it's buckshot, but we could feel it, like we seen it like spreading a few feet in front of us. It was wild.
Well, guys, we're gonna just kind of wrap it up since we have gotten off topic.
Yeah.
But next week, we want y'all to know that we will be off for Thanksgiving, and we'll be back the following week. Hopefully, we'll get our shadow people
Next
back.
week.
Well, week after next.
Week after next.
Yeah. Do you think we can get the guy that was supposed to be on tonight to show up?
Maybe I'll ask him. If not, we could switch it with another topic, but we can discuss that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, guys. Oh, Alan Lassiter has asked if well, there's a couple of questions. So let me just hit those before we go. So Laura's asking if she should be concerned as a Domino's pizza delivery person. You're in Texas, I think you're okay. Mike Lewis.
Always pack a gun.
Mike Lewis asked if there's a devil's trap as well.
I'm not sure what Devil's Trap is.
Is that a Harry Potter reference? Devil's Snare?
Is that
It's
what
a
that is?
plant. It's a plant that kills people, I guess, in Harry Potter. I don't guess. I know.
Alan
I don't know if
Laster.
that's what he means.
Alan Laster's asking if there's any blue people up your way.
Oh yeah. The blue people live about 20 miles away from where my grandma lives.
Now, who are the blue people?
The Fugits of Kentucky, they're legitimately blue. Their skin's blue. They say that there's a couple different explanations. There's some that say that's a genetic disorder, and there's some that says it's from the silver that they used to intake. But I think it's more of the genetic disorder because they have some of them's been cured of it recently, but they have to keep taking some kind of medicine to change their skin to a normal color besides blue.
Yeah,
Like,
those-
how blue are they? Are they like light blue? Or
I got a
dark
picture
blue?
here, but I
Blue.
can't put it in the chat. I don't know why.
yeah, it's there was one guy they called him Papa Smurf. He had a white beard. He was blue.
See if you can screen share it.
Shit, I don't know how to do that.
It's
I'm
in the
looking at-
bottom. It says
Fugit family.
present.
Present.
Yeah.
All right. It's where is it now? Present. Okay.
Yeah.
And what does that do when I click on it?
You click on that and
Click
then
on Find out.
you gotta share your screen.
Okay, I did. Ain't shit happening. Present.
She might
Oh,
have
wait.
to give you permission or something.
Slide share
You should have
screen.
permission. Oh, well,
Yeah, it's not giving anything there. No. Shit. Nope.
all right. Well,
Well, technology and me, we're not pals. So I'm looking at a family here, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blue ones and 4 not blue ones. It looks like a painting, though.
are they like yellow or are they like green or?
They were on the
no,
side.
they're like full on blue, like Papa Smurf, Avatar,
Mhm.
Navi people blue.
Like the blue people that do that dance stuff and
Oh, they're not that deep, but yeah, like Blue Man Group, Blue Fugits.
I'm gonna see if I can put it at least in the chat so Hadley can see it. I won't let me screen.
oh, I'm googling it now. He is
Yeah, it's
blue.
just-
He's
yeah.
kind of like
Yes.
a dusty gray blue, but yeah.
A little bit.
But yeah, we're pretty close to them.
Snopes says it's true, but Snopes, I don't buy that shit anyway.
He was on a TV show. No, that's true, man.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I do.
I'm telling y'all, there's stuff that we just don't know about. All right. So Landa said happy Thanksgiving. Again, we're going to wrap things up and we'll be back after the holiday. Everybody have a very happy, safe, and joyful Thanksgiving. Do right and be safe. And we will talk to y'all in 2 weeks.
They're coming to take me away, ha ha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho, hee hee, ha ha. To the